Back to girlfriends. The next thing that the article talks about references like other pop culture experts and writers in the field, and other media, I don't know, people who know about this stuff. Okay. And one of the experts said, now get this, y'all, if you don't count Moesha, yeah, I remember Mo to the E to the, right? So if you don't count Moesha, if you don't count the game, and I think this person said, and if you don't count girlfriends, then there was no other black drama made specifically about, there's no other drama made specifically about black women other than being Mary Jane. Okay, so that's problematic because, one, I didn't know that Moesha was a black drama. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. When I think about it, I mean, I guess it's not a, was it, I mean, Hakeem was kind of funny and the brother was funny. The dad thought he was funny. And then, what's the best friend name? The Parkers, like, Moesha was not a black drama. I know they had one episode like Harlem Renaissance, and I'm sure they did like, some teachable moment things, like the after school special kind of moment stuff. But Moesha was not a black drama, which I think, I didn't know it was a black drama. Okay, the game. The game, I didn't think the game was a black drama. And I do know that it's centered around the black women who were the wives, girlfriends of the players. Yeah, that don't go in any of these categories. The game is all that, trust me. But the game don't go in this conversation. So I don't even know. Like, you just putting all kinds of black shows that have black women into this conversation. And I don't even know why, because they even reference like, well, the only time, there was only like two basic parts for black women to play in Hollywood for the longest. It was either a drama like Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, or a comedy. And I'm like, okay, but what else is there? I mean, what else is there? What else? Am I missing something? Like, why are we talking about the game? Why are we talking about Moesha? Why are we talking about Scandal? Why are we talking about How to Get Away with Murder? I get that those shows all have black leads. And they were all very successful in their own right. Some more mainstream success, like Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, because for different reasons, but mostly because they were on a big network compared to Moesha. I think Moesha was like a UPN thing too, right? And the game was UPN. Now, being Mary Jane, I think you can kind of put into the same conversation as a black Sex and the City argument. Even though being Mary Jane was just about Mary Jane. And it didn't really have a comedic, like, element to it. I mean, I'm sure there were some times where there were things that were funny. Her family, I loved Mary Jane's family. The mom, the brother, the niece, the friend. That whole thing was dark. All the men and all that stuff. But there wasn't anything funny. It was a good show. It was a good drama. Okay? But I wouldn't put it in the same conversation. Like, stop. Like, everything that looks the same does not act the same. And you, as a black writer and an expert on black media and pop culture, like, you should know that. Like, we don't have to talk about these shows, right? Like, I don't know who the reader. Okay, fine. I did need to know that because I was just in the zone. I don't know who the readers are, who the intended readers, the audience for this article was, but like, if it's black women like me of a certain age, and we've seen all those shows, we grew up on them, what have you, like, we know the difference between an Insecure, Girlfriends, if you want to put that in one category, versus a Moesha and the Game. Like, or even the difference between girlfriends and the game. Like, we know the difference. They don't belong in this discussion. So those were the things that were problematic for me about the article. But fundamentally, I think the reason why we have not had a black Sex in the City, why they haven't, because we don't need it. We didn't need it. We don't need a black Sex in the City, right? Sex in the City was what it was for everyone. It was a great show. It was a great cultural movement that cannot be duplicated. That's the thing.
Keep left.
How are you going to duplicate that type of cultural phenomenon? First of all, at this point, like, the way social media has a chokehold on the things that people consume and the things that people do and what influences people, like, I don't know if one person or one show, and when I say one person, I mean by way of, you know, the character Carrie Bradshaw, could have that singular type of effect, because there's so many people doing so many different things and all doing the same things, and people are exposed to all of the people at the same time, none of the people at the same time, and so you're just not going to be able to recreate that. Okay, but what I will say about Sex in the City compared to Girlfriends, and maybe we could talk about Insecure, but I think Insecure was
0.1 miles.
All right, she gonna tell me a lie because I gotta keep left, and it's gonna be a minute, y'all. But
Exit left.
so the thing about Sex in the City,
Quarter of a mile. Keep left.
the thing about
Quarter of a mile.
you just said it. All right, we gonna have to pause. So the thing about Sex in the City, that really sets it apart in my mind from Girlfriends, and why Girlfriends could never quite measure up. Well, there's a few things. Let me break it down very quickly. So you had 4 women, 4 friends, right? And they were all different in their own right, but it was somewhat believable that they could actually all be friends, right? It was believable that they could be friends. But I feel like Girlfriends tried to give you caricatures of all the different types of, like, 4 different types of black women, okay? And I think, of course, like, Joan and Tony could be friends, right? I don't really know. I guess Lynn, and I can't remember, was Lynn, like, how did Lynn come to be friends with Joan? Were they, like, related, like, or close family friends, like childhood? Like, I don't remember. I could see them being friends, but not really. I could see them being friends, but not really. Maybe. So that one is not that hard. Oh gosh, what is her name? What's the girl that played? I forgot her name. I thought about it earlier and I can't remember her name. Anyway, you know the 4th girl. That was Joan's assistant. And then, you know, she became one of the friends, one of the girlfriends. Now, that could kind of be believable, right? That they could be friends. The only thing that was problematic about her is that I don't think that actress, she was not believable in that role. So I think that's what it was. So that was problematic. But we watched the show and I loved the show. It was a good show. It was a good show. Like, everybody else, like Monica, oh man, what's the friend's name? The guy? Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy. I'm gonna have to get on here and, like, what was his name? I just said it too the other day. Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy. God dang it. What's that man's name? William. William was very believable. He was a good, like, I could see them being friends. Everybody else, but she wasn't believable. Like I said, maybe it was just her in that role that was not, I'm not gonna say she's not a good actress, right? But I don't think that she was good for that role. That's it. And I don't know that I've seen her in anything else, so. But anyway, so for me, that was the only thing that was problematic about the friend dynamic, right? Tony and Joan's relationship was, you know, kind of toxic, but it was somewhat believable. like that fit well into the storyline. But I think the main thing that set Sex and the City apart from well, no, two things. See, I keep saying. So one, as I said before, Carrie Bradshaw was such an accessible kind of character that if you wanted to wake up one day and say, I'm gonna be Carrie Bradshaw, you could. Now, what did it mean to be a column writer, and how much did you actually get paid, and could you afford to live in that apartment? That didn't matter, right? But she was somebody who had a fabulous lifestyle, knew all the fabulous people in the city, and didn't really have to do much, right? It didn't feel like, oh, you had to, you know, have all kinds of degrees, and you had to, you know, have been born rich and all of these things, right? It didn't feel like that. So I think most of us could relate to that, whether we thought it was realistic or not. And then the most important thing about shows like this, and I'm gonna tell you this is even true for me when it comes to the reality shows that I watch, like The Housewives, the city. That is the fundamental difference. And I don't even think this article mentioned that. Like, how could you miss that big, glaring point? The title of the show is Sex in the City. Sex and the City. And the city. The city is a character. Girlfriends never created a city as a character. We knew that it was set in LA, but we didn't get to see what life was like in LA. What, like, the dating scene, like literally see people out in real LA. Okay? Sex and the City did that. Sex and the City took us to, as I said before, Carrie didn't have all the money, but she knew the people with the money, took us to those fabulous parties in their fabulous homes or like fabulous apartments, took us to New York City hotspots. Okay? So if you were in New York, if you lived in New York, like me, you felt like, oh, we could go hit up that spot one of these days. Okay? You know, and people want that experience, or even people who don't live in that particular city. Like, you want to go visit New York because you want to try to go to the tea room. You want to try to go to Fifth Avenue. You want to do the things that they've done. You want to at least take pictures of it. So, like, if Girlfriends actually, you know, had that kind of budget, if UPN had that kind of budget and whoever else produced it or whatever, then they would have actually shot scenes on Rodeo Drive, you know, go to all of the different LA hotspots. Nobu, like, y'all should have introduced us to that first.
Nobu.
Okay. I don't know. What are some other LA hotspots? I don't know. You know, LA. You know, even taking you to the Chinese theater, you know, just like a quirky moment. Something. They didn't do that. It was like a closed set, like with a laugh track. So now, don't get me wrong. Good TV. We loved it. We appreciated it. We couldn't get enough of it. We wanted more. But we didn't get those moments. And we need to see the four women walking down Rodeo Drive, or again, somewhere in Inglewood up to no good. You know, like, we need to see these things in like a real existence of the show. Like we saw with the four women of Sex and the City, right? Even Miranda had some good, decent fashion sometimes. You know, she had her own unique style that wasn't doing too much, but it was cute when it was supposed to be cute. We didn't see that with the four women on Girlfriends, and I love Girlfriends. Like, it's up there for me. But I'm just saying that everything don't have to be everything. And I think Insecure was just as great as Sex and the City, but it was a different type of show. You know, it was about being able to be an awkward black woman and being the lead and still having sex appeal.
Who initiated the sex?
Him, basically.
Have y'all spoken since?
Yeah. No.
And growing into and developing into all of these different and building up your confidence, which in some ways Carrie Bradshaw was like that too. Right? So that's my take on that article. I'm probably gonna come back on because I gotta go through and see if there were some other points that I missed. Make sure I accurately cite my sources and the references made. But yeah, I made it to work, y'all. Safe and sound. Thank you for taking this drive with me. Alright, don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what we do, decollection. We do all kinds of things related to fashion, decluttering, but mostly elevating all of those things. So, see you next time. Bye.